let's see if I can get away with this. Okay, I'm gonna pause that out there. I'm gonna I need, no, I don't need that. I need that one. Yeah, perfect. Ba-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba. No punch, man. What was I doing here? I was doing something, and I don't remember what it was. So we are going... Was I going to do some level up stuff? Maybe that's what it was, and I completely sidelined it. Anyway. What do we have? Strength. That is interesting. I wonder if it has to do with, oh, my output right now. Let me... Where is it? There it is. See, up that by 10%. I'm trying to keep it balanced so that I don't completely peak everything out as well. So, yeah. And I've also got like weird noise stuff in the background, but yeah. Where's that? Balancing is always fun in this. Hi, Chill Dog. How's it going? Chill Doge. Let's see. I think I want recall. Recall's already selected. I need to get... Oh, wait. That's Scroll of League step. Yeah, that's fine. I need to find an amulet. Well, I found an amulet of recall. But I need to find a better source of them or find a way to do it better. Because they're not cheap at all. Because if I go over here... Be like, hey, I want to create an amulet of recall. I go to enchanting. I select recall on self, and we're already at 26,000. Okay, cool. So the way I have like chats set up, I've got like windows overlaying each other by like just enough. So I've got the avatars covered up in the restream window. So yeah, it's so trying to get the avatars is like they're kind of out of the way. Let's see. Let's see. We got 2 skooma pipes. Those are definitely very important alchemical tools. Let's see. Maybe we'll try and recall. Maybe we'll try and recall. Okay, what is Carnius satisfied was no longer causing problems at the mining site. Cool. We did our job. Let's go hunt animals. Yeah, this is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. It is in of the game. Functionality in it, including Lewis scripting for modding now. And then it's also got his own custom creation kit, basically. No! Don't hit me, bear! You're unbearable! Take all. I'm just gonna leave the dead bodies around. Stream's buffering. That's not good. So I've got red on my bars. It's probably my end as to why it's buffering, because I've got red currently and I don't know what's up with my connection. I haven't troubleshot it. Oh wait, what am I doing? Yeah, he wants to pay. It might be, like I said, it could be a little bit sloppy because it's like red bars in like OBS. So it could be a number of anything. Let me go back here. Let's see. Are we experiencing status stuff? Well, Las Vegas isn't down, so there's that. But anyway. I don't know. Bro, it's a bear. Took you long enough, sheesh. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. I mean, that's a toughie one. I mean, I haven't had problems with it before, so it might be something else, like midpoint and whatnot, because I could ping the server that OBS is connecting to and see what's up, but yeah. Ulfgar, the Unending's dwelling. Maybe today is just not Marwyn's day. I don't know. Ah, visitor. It's been quite a while since I've had any company, friend. I'm afraid I don't have much to offer. Hear a barbarian's sad tale. I came with 4. We were getting close. We could feel it. But then one of our fellowship, the rest of us, he laid an ambush and assailed us with powerful magicka. I managed to slay Grimkel, but not before my 3 other companions were turned to stone. You may have seen them, for they are the 3 standing stones of Brodir Grove, not far from here. Masha, well, you know. Brodir Grove is where Grimkel ambushed us. My friends were turned to stone on that very spot, and there they remain, a monument of betrayal. I too was caught in the spell, but thought I had been spared its effects. I was wrong. Instead of killing me like it did my friends, Grimkel's magicka turned me into this living stone. You see, these events did take place 500 years ago. I have remained here ever since, and here I will stay until I finally find the entrance to Sovngarde. My token rings, yeah. Well, yeah, of course, because everything is token ring. I mean, who wouldn't? Sovngarde is the name of the fortress erected by the god Sjor as a gift to the valiant. It is said that if a Nord can locate the hidden entrance to Sovngarde, they can dwell in its mead-filled halls forever. That is the quest we were on. You see, it's why Grimkel betrayed us. Why he tried to turn us all into stone. He was attempting to create his own magical portal to Sovngarde. Now Grimkel is dead, as are my friends, and I have failed in our quest. Don't you understand? 500 years I have searched for the entrance to Sovngarde. I've been all across the Empire and back, but I cannot find it. Once my friends and I served Isgramor and counted ourselves among his 500 companions. We helped drive the elves out of Skyrim. We earned our place in Sovngarde. If in your travels you discover the entrance to Sovngarde, let me know, and I'll be forever in your debt. I have tried and failed. I mean, doing a stream via avian carrier? Not at this point. It may be more reliable and actually get across quicker. Whoa, bro could see me from a mile away. Sheesh. Dang it, all this is owned. I've found the entrance to Sovngarde. Let me kill you.
Have you found it? Have you found the entrance to Sovngarde?
Not yet. But I found a Rickling. And he tried to kill me. If that's worth anything. I mean, that is one way to send a packet. The other option, and if you watch, is to record the video and then send it over a USB flash drive attached to an avian carrier. Rick Astley picture. Ah, the horrible hacker. The most Chad bird, Xiaomi. But then what if the bird, like, doesn't fall to the intercept? I mean, what then? Then we're in a good spot, obviously. I mean, there have been carrier pigeons that didn't fall to German hackers, so, I mean, you know. Where is... Oh, wait. I need the recall. I am running it on a laptop currently. So when I'm looking at OBS, it says it's fine. There are a couple things probably in between between Pipewire and then just like the connection otherwise that may be causing issues. So I don't know if it's necessarily like, oh, what is it? So if I go and come in and I go and blah, 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 what is it? Ping my server. You can see that I've got pretty good ping. And then if I trace route that, I get that. If I do an MTR, then I get that. And you can see that there is some packet loss in here. So that might be our middle point where we're losing it, is like these 3 points here. Which kind of makes sense in a lot of ways. Let's see, undefined. It's obviously not my routers on either end. These ones are undefined, so that's probably, possibly our Starlink. This is the Salt Lake end zone, Denver end zone, Salt Lake, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think it's got a couple in between because it's switching around constantly, but anyway. Oh, what was I doing? I was recalling back to where I was. What's up, bros? I'm going bear hunting. Bro. The ebony recharged. Can totally cool? Yeah? Cool. Directed energy devices, maybe. But then, I mean, if the birds are controlled by directed energy devices, then how do we know that the birds don't have batteries and they're just remote controlled cameras? A Galaxy Book? Ooh. I am running it on a gaming laptop, so there is that, which has an RTX 3050 in it. So, yeah. But I believe there is a port of OpenMW for Android. So it should be okay to work on that. And then you can install mods on it as well. And sort things out that way. How much is that worth? 350. Shield is 50. I should go see Creeper. Adamantium dagger is 1,000. I'm gonna see. I'm holding on to the adamantium dagger. Hey, Knight, how's it going? I need that. Thank you for the berries. Look, here's a dead bear, stupid bear. Teach you to disrespect me. You know what? I think I'm gonna go dig deeper into his cave. I mean, you're not wrong. That would have definitely been more entertaining. Like, in order to get to life, you have to play Battle Royale. I think your entrance to Sovngarde is deep inside this cave. You just haven't gone deep enough, buddy. We are in the yellow in OBS on the connections. Oh, nope, back down to red. Never mind. Ooh, Chromebook sucks even more. No. Asus does pretty well. I'm running off of an Asus Tough book. So, yeah. They've actually been pretty decent. I can't complain about Asus too much. Granted, they do have their moments. Ooh. That actually sounds pretty nice. See, I've halfway been looking at solar options because a lot of batteries have the capability of running, what is it? You can connect a solar panel to it and then charge it passively, and I want to add that for my hot tent just so that I can have like power inside of it, and it would be really cool to do. See, the thing is, I'm running a full Asus laptop, and I've installed Linux on it. That's basically all I ever use. I've still got the original SSD with Windows on it, but I've hardly booted into it, maybe like twice, maybe 3 times in the last year, but that's only due to like certain jobs that I've been to that have said, you need Windows, and it's like, and then come to find out, like, the things I could have done, like, most of them I could have done on Linux anyway, but, yeah. I want to unlock something. Do I not? There it is. Heh. Oh wait, that's 70. Frig. Let's see, iron arrow, longbow. Well, that's what I mean, getting like a small power station and then hooking up a solar panel to it. Yeah, I think I recently posted a video from the inside of my hot tent, and I've mostly used it during the summer or warmer months, but I've kind of figured out how to do the ventilation right so it manages the heat and actually like stays cooler, but I haven't gotten a hot tent stove for it. But I think I've posted a video previously. I might have to do another one with it, but I kind of want to get more kit to, like, mess with it that way, but yeah. Do I have? No. No lockpicks. I have to wait. See, back down here, deep in the treasures, is the key to the entrance to the key to Sovngarde, right in this small chest right there. I swear to it. What have I been doing? Let's see, Thunderfist and Woad. Nord's Thunderfist. It freezes everything in its path. I mean, so the electric chainsaw, I can definitely see for, like, cutting it into shorter pieces. But, I mean, once you process it into, like, actual burning logs, I would, like, axe that thing all the way up and down, because then you also build the muscle. But anyway. Winter does kind of suck for solar, not gonna lie. But winter's also the perfect time because you've got the celestial refrigerator, or freezer, if you will. I'm not going back to see you. Oh, an electric boat motor, yeah. Long-term maintenance... That's hard because a lot of times you can get away with, solar panels lasting for a long time. So one of my neighbors, he, many years ago, for some of the national parks, he had done solar panel installs, and they still run off of those same panels since like a few years ago even. So they can last a long time, but yeah, there is the issue of like them eventually wearing out, so it kind of yeah, it's an issue. What was it? Mysticisms? Yeah. Worth beyond measure, Outlander. Yeah. See, that's the thing, is you have to have the money, like, either saved up or able to get it liquid in order to replace the panels when the time really comes. But then hopefully down the road, as you replace them, the panels are even better and the technology is much more improved so that they do last longer. So you kind of got a bit of play, if you will, and give and take that you're working with. See, the thing with solar is I can see it as being very useful on an individual basis, but once you start say, we need to do it for like the whole of like the country and we're going to like do it here. It's like cities make a little bit more sense to do it for because they're smaller population, it's easier to monitor that. Once you start like scaling up larger, it becomes more taxing and less defined on how reliable you can make reliably you can make it work. Let's see. Was it Aldrun, Sadrith, Mora, Caldera?
I suppose I could spare a moment or two. All right, I'm listening.
I don't think you have what I want.
Speak freely, friend.
Yeah, see, I know for Europe in particular, when it comes to their large-scale solar stuff, that they've had issues with brownouts and things like that. And then you've just got, like, the other environmental factors that come into it. And especially at a large scale, it just creates more issues than it does solutions. At a smaller scale, though, on, like, say, an individual property, it has been more reliable because either people adjust their lifestyle to the amount of energy being generated, or they add more options for generating energy that help to supplement the solar. So you're able to actually fine-tune it much easier on a smaller scale and add in more options if needs be, versus at a larger scale, it's basically becomes your end-all be-all for a lot of places. Rather than picking something that's more reliable, generates a lot of energy for a like nation state level, they just like go with the ad ridiculum and do things like China, like scraping entire mountains and putting panels on it all. Oh, yeah. Definitely, for sure. I would love to... And I know my family's talked about going, like, with solar, some wind options, and things like that. Because then we could, like, get off the grid and just drop it all. And then it would also make it so that the power outages that we have regularly every year, like, at least once or twice a year, there's always a power outage for a few hours. And so it means we don't have to deal with that anymore from the power grid. See, that's what gets me too, is like when they put a solar farm in, they end up scraping the land, basically, and getting rid of animal habitats. And it's like, wasn't the like whole point of like going green, to help the environment, not like kill it? I mean, yeah, when it comes to like your spiritual growth, as you grow, you have to become more self-sufficient. And if you apply that to temporal matters, it becomes even more important. And sometimes you wonder, like, which comes first, the spiritual self-reliance or the temporal self-reliance? And I think one contributes to the other a little bit more. Kind of like the whole no purser script thing, but anyway. What was I doing here? I think I was trying to look for spells, but anyway. See, and that's the thing, is you've got money becomes a factor. So one of the things that I ran into I did door-to-door sales for solar for a little bit, and one of the things I ran into in one particular door is this woman was like, yeah, I don't need solar. I like pay the power company for solar, and that's basically how I pay for my power. It's like, okay, so you outsource your power generation to the solar company, and you rent out panels from them that they have in a solar farm. Putting rooftop solar makes more sense for the environment because off wildlife, like more wildlife ecosystem to create a solar farm. You're putting it on your roof. But these people are like, no, I pay for solar. And it's like, and what do they do to put in the solar farm? They find a field and like get rid of animal habitat in order to install solar panels. Yeah. Green on the outside, red on the inside. Of course, red with the blood of everybody else that died, and red with all the birds that died in that one solar pylon in California. I love having two separate venues for the same conversation. It's lovely. Look cross-eyed at Twitch chat and like YouTube chat, and like, yeah, we're having the same conversation but two different places. It's fun.
Short trip, long trip.
I mean, you look at like even in some cases in pretty much every case, the New Deal back in the day, and it's like, hey, the government's gonna pay us to like plant trees, and that's gonna be that. Oh, it helped us get out of the Great Depression. It's like, the government was spending money to do projects that really didn't contribute much, and it's like, well, they built freeways and that helped us get around. It's like, what did building freeways really accomplish? Yeah. Let's see. Broken solar panel leaks. I have looked into building custom solar panels a while ago. You can actually buy individual solar cells off like eBay for pretty cheap and do it. So that does make it more reliable and replaceable and repairable in a sense, because you do all the wiring yourself. I'm going this way, I think. Was it? Did I want to? Yeah, let's do that. I don't care enough to, yeah. But that means you can, in essence, create it more reliably. And then, yeah, roof solar being as much of a waste as grass lawns without the food or forest. Yeah. Solar panels just get rid of, solar farms get rid of more of that space that could be used for food, honestly. And that forest space, yeah, a lot of it gets taken by solar farming, and a lot of people like to dog on like the logging industry or in what all, but at the same time they're actually replanting trees at a higher rate than they cut them down. So yeah. I mean, our whole railroad system relies on 5 main lines to get goods across the country. So you blow like those things up and we're done. We haven't gone to, in a lot of ways, I think air transport would be a lot more efficient, a lot better. But alas, here we are. I mean, a food forest would be nice. Reaching up, grabbing your food and eating it fresh, nothing better. What am I missing over here? Crush weed. Do I have something to kill over here? I need to find something to kill. I don't know, at the same time, the US Postal Service, I mean, maybe, yeah. Ground fare does tend to be cheaper for UPS particularly, but it can be a little bit slower. The hard part to say is USPS is still in some ways supported as like a government entity. You've got Union Pacific, which is the same way. There's like huge government subsidies for the railroad. So can anything else really fairly compete with it? So, yeah. I like the idea of self-management after 4 to 5 years. So Food Forest sounds like my kind of place. There's something down there to kill. Let's go in here first. Morville Shack. What are we finding here? I don't know, but... Yeah, see. Government entity. Huh. I'm just trying to... I'd have to look more into it to see, like, the... establishment of the USPS as in there. It's like, was that a later amendment? Because I don't think it was in the like initial drafting, but anyway. So, I mean, the thing is, if the USPS wasn't basically mandated under whichever constitutional amendment or what all, would it actually be able to survive in its current model? That's the thing. Is, would they need bailouts to continue to function, or would they fizzle out in lieu of UPS and FedEx as competition? Just like Union Pacific Railroad, would the Union Pacific fizzle out and die without the government subsidies and all that from its long history, or would it actually be able to compete with other options? Telmathata, Marog, Kemelze, Amar, Akamora, Darvanis. Let's do Amar. I'm going to be respectful and put my weapon away, because, you know, steel longbow. Uphold the house law. Move along and mind your manners.
You talk too much.
See, that's the thing that I mean is, like, there are many in the private sector that basically get government handouts, and in some cases it's the only reason why they're still alive. So they kind of are like, they're private sector technically, but they're in essence public sector entities because they get public funding. Let's see. Oh, you're canned, pre-canned NPC. I'm gonna go on a distraction. Okay, we're gonna go on a distraction journey. See, that's the thing, but then at the same time they still, like, in a lot of ways want to retain their private entity status when they get that handout. Kind of like halfway like GM, which everyone now calls Government Motors because of the handouts. Okay. Let's see. Formed in 71, 53 years ago, DC. Independent agency of the executive branch, responsible for postal service, insular areas, monopoly on traditional letter delivery within the U.S. So yeah, USPS largely is the monopoly on traditional letter delivery. Yeah, there's competition, but by and large, USPS is the de facto. Both of which provide uniform price and quality. Yeah, quality can sometimes be debatable, but anyway, Post Office has exclusive access to letterboxes, personal letterboxes in the U.S., but has to compete against private sector delivery service, USPS, FedEx, and DHL. First national postal agency, known as was founded by the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia in 1775. Appointed the Postmaster General. The Post Office Department was created in 1792 with passage of the Postal Service Act. The appointment of local postmasters was a major venue for delivery patronage. It's elevated to a cabinet level department in 1872. See, that's the thing. And like once you start taking that into account, it's like, well, you're kind of beholden to the taxpayers because you're using their money to fund your thing. Let's see. It's delivered to a cab, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so 1792, Postal Service Act, open new tab. USIA helped the Post Office Department during the Cold War to redesign stamps to include more patriotic slogans. Since the early 1980s, many direct tax subsidies to the USPS, with the exception of subsidies for costs associated with the disabled and overseas voters, have been reduced or eliminated. Let's see. Postal Reorganization Act. Okay. Established the U.S. Post Office, signed into law by George Washington on February 20th, 1792. H.R. 154 by Samuel Livermore. Frustrated by the Royal Mail, was unable to reliably deliver his Pennsylvania Chronicle to its readers. Constitutional post before the Continental Congress in 1774. Waited on the act, promoted Goddard's plan, was appointed as the first Postmaster General. Nearly 1 year before the Franklin Ellery made a significant contribution to the Postal Service and the colonies while serving as Postmaster of Philadelphia. Let's see. So yeah, it's been there since the beginning. I think my biggest gripe, I guess, is the reliability of service and the fact that many post office employees at this point, with the tenure thing going on, it kind of like kills the service. Let's see. Yeah, legislation was a direct outcome of the U.S. postal strike of 1970. Prior to the act, postal workers were not permitted by law to engage in collective bargaining. In the act, the 4 major postal unions won full collective bargaining rights, the right to negotiate on wages, benefits, and working conditions, although they were still not allowed the right to strike. Okay, so here's the thing. You've got government employees striking against, abolished the then U.S. Post Office Department, which was a part of the cabinet, and created the U.S. Postal Service. Corporation-like independent agency by the U.S. government is an official service for the delivery of mail in the United States. United States Postal Service shall be operated as a basic and fundamental service provided to the people by the government of the U.S., authorized by the Constitution, created by the Act of Congress, and supported by the people. The Postal Service shall have as its basic function the obligation to provide postal services to bind the nation together through the personal, educational, literary, and business correspondence of the people. It should provide prompt, reliable, and efficient services to patrons in all areas and shall render postal services to all communities. The cost of establishing and maintaining the postal service shall not be a portion to impair the overall value of such service to people. So over the years, especially with where I live, it's been an issue, like the postal service being reliable and actually delivering packages in some cases, because I've had carriers that didn't deliver a package purely because they didn't feel like it seemed. So they kind of reformed the postal office department to something completely different than what it was back in the day originally when postal service was established under the Constitution, or later on, established soon after the Constitution and all that. So it's kind of like a thing. Let's see. American Letter Mail Company. Does it mention it here at all? No. Operation budget, blah, blah, blah. Deliveries, blah, blah, blah. Legal basis, blah, blah, blah. References. Mail and postal systems. American Letter Mail Company was started by Lysander Spooner in 1844, competing against the legal monopoly of the U.S. Post Office, now the USPS. So, had it been the United States, so they reformed U.S. Post Office to USPS, and that kind of like changed the game of everything, because now like the unions basically controlled a lot of things, which is a gripe of mine. But anyway, that's a whole other like union thing for later. Let's return to the game that, we were dealing with. Can I hit can I hit these? I'm gonna save just a quick. Hit. Train? Nope, nothing. Why are all these boxes set to being owned? Like, this is a tragedy. I want to take your stuff. MR Entrance Hall. Hello, friend. Iron Flame Blade, Home Civi Intervention, League Step. I think League Step is becoming like my best option right now for Juseda's Feather. Gosh, dang it. I got a little bit of money. Got 2 recalls. See, yeah. Let's see, yeah, cool. Okay, let's go back to that first one. Spooner started the service out of frustration with the exceedingly high postal rates. It cost 18 3/4 cents to send a letter from Boston to New York and 25 cents to send one from Boston to Washington, D.C. People today would be like, dude, that's cheap. But anyway, a letter sent from Boston to Albany, New York, written on a 1/4-ounce sheet of paper and carried by the Western Railroad, costs 2/3 as much as the freight charge for carrying a barrel of flour to the same distance. Spooner's justification was that the Constitution provided for a government-run postal service, but did not exclude others from engaging in the same business. Spooner dropped his rates even lower, delivering many letters for free. This competition dropped prices dramatically, with postage of 6 1/4 cents per each half ounce and stamps 20 for $1. Deliveries were made twice daily between New York and Philadelphia. The U.S. government tried to lower prices by threatening railroads to withdraw business. However, the U.S. government challenged Spooner with legal measures, whereby Spooner was initially vindicated. In fact, the U.S. Circuit Court expressed doubt that the U.S. had the right to monopolize transportation of mail. Congress eventually forced him to cease operations in 1851 by legislating a U.S. monopoly. Okay, so yeah. It's interesting because I think in a lot of cases, you see UPS and DHL using USPS as the last mile delivery, and I think that's probably due to some of this legislation here. Oh, what's funny is the fact that someone comes in, succeeds at doing it cheaper, and the government's like, no, stop that. And that's the kind of thing that is kind of my biggest gripe, is I think we could have better prices, but the fact that the government has to be involved kills it. And it kind of hampers down on delivery. Like, say, for example, your Amazon Prime packages. Out where I'm at, we don't have service to get the Prime delivery guys straight to the door. So for quite a while, Amazon basically contracted out UPS to do the deliveries. Now, over in the last year or two, USPS has basically taken that over. So pretty much every Amazon package is delivered by the Postal Service. And in some cases, it ends up getting lost in... They've done really good at it over the last year of actually delivering packages, but because of the experience in the past where a package has been delayed because either A, it didn't get onto the truck, or B, they didn't want to deliver, or it was too heavy or too big, I've gone into the post office just to double check that it isn't still there. I wish I could read the Ukrainian or Russian, whichever one that is. But anyway. So, the fact that you have to legislate a monopoly on something just seems really crummy. And it just says, like, we can't succeed unless we legislate it. Hence, why, in a lot of cases with, like, the railroad in particular, it's like, hey, we've got this cool thing, but we don't want to compete with stuff too much. So we're just going to, like, get government subsidies. That's why you saw the winding railroad tracks back in the day, is because the railroad didn't get paid for being more efficient. They got paid by the mile of rail that they laid. So they laid a bunch of stuff out, but then on top of that, they're cutting through property and farms that other people have. And so they're taking land away because now you've got, like, your 6-foot federal property barrier, whatever, that is mandated by it. Because the reason they have those fences around the railroad tracks is because that's federal property, and if you walk onto it, you're federally trespassing. So, yeah, that's just a whole other debacle all on its own. I mean, yeah, see, that's the other thing, too, is, like, we're not doing anything wrong. In fact, yeah, in a lot of ways, we're doing a better job than you are, so let us do it. But now everybody wants to mandate the government do X thing and the government's going to do it in a lot of ways cruddier than the private sector ever will. And then once the government gets a monopoly on that thing by legislative mandate, then they're just going to, like, squash out the competition that would be there otherwise. It's just kind of a bad mojo game all in all. I mean, honestly, if you're a parent and that's, like, your reasoning, you should probably figure out, like,
But make it quick.
the reason why you're telling them and actually be honest about it. It's like, why not? Well, because you're gonna hurt yourself or burn yourself. And I'd rather not you burn your hand by touching said thing. Is this gonna be worthwhile? Blah, blah, blah. Amar. No little of this fortress is... It is a stronghold of House Cyndaryl. Cool. Can I join House Cyndaryl? Well, no. I mean, honestly, the whole thing of because I said so, there's a reason other than because I said so. It's just you don't have a good founding and understanding of why that is, or you just don't want to be honest. One of the two. See, that's the thing that gets me. Is like, I can't live without their convenience. And obviously, the nail in your rear end is not giving you enough pain to want to move. And saying that the government should regulate is just a really bad option because it doesn't make it any cheaper. In fact, in a lot of cases, it'll probably end up hiking your taxes up even more and stretching you even further financially. House Cyndaryl. I am proud to serve this great and honorable house.
Quickly, Outlander. I haven't much time.
Why don't you play with fire? Because you're gonna cry your head off. Oh, there's this excellent video that I came across the other day that kind of touches on that bit. Let me see if I can... It's in my history somewhere, probably. History. The original gaming nug. Yeah, this one. Fire, the child arsonist. How long was it? Tell me again. 6 minutes? Oh, this is golden.
2 million years ago, the Homo sapien started to harness the power of fire. And now, they have perfected it. As demonstrated in this film, a very rotund man will show you the top-down fire. With a sharpened chunk of metal and a little skinny stick, this below-average IQ man creates fire out of nothing. Fire. When I was a little kid, I had an incident in 4th grade where I almost burned down a neighborhood by accident. I wasn't trying to, but you know,
That's
everybody
what
was
they all
worried,
say.
so they took me to like I was taken to a firehouse or something, some kind of like program where they were, I guess, finding out if I'm a sicko, a pyromaniac, which I'm definitely not a pyromaniac. I just made a mistake at the time. But now that I'm older, I still like fire, just like when I was a kid. But now I really know how to control it. There's something very powerful about that. It's a violent chemical reaction, fire. But harnessing it is also powerful.
just like the internal combustion engine is controlling of explosions, basically. So I think about fire in a similar way. If you know what you're doing, it's pretty safe, and you can get a lot of things done. As David Attenborough mentioned in the beginning of this video, fire was used for possibly millions of years, and it was to stay warm, keep predators away, and probably just to show off the chicks, like, check this out, bitch. He said, the caveman guy said bitch, I didn't say that. So
yeah, fire. Again, good example. Story, very important. And is firing. Little bit small, but anyway, that's because I have a 4-foot fire ring that I burn in.
I think that it's a good idea to show children how to make a fire like this. I think the Boy Scouts is a good idea. I didn't have anything like that when I was a little kid, and so my outlet was unsafe. But if I were to mentor a young boy or a young girl that's interested, you know, I think that would be very good for them. Anybody, it doesn't need to be me mentoring the kids, but I think kids need to learn about fire through the perspective that it's very dangerous, but if properly taken care of, it's also can be very useful.
So a lot of people may not want to acknowledge it, but guns are the same way.
And it can also be a little fun to make a fire. And the tools that we make fires with are pretty cool too. I actually happen to be named after one of them. If someone kind of taught me how to make a fire like what I'm doing right now, which is a really easy way of doing it. I'm not working hard, I'm not thinking at all. This is like the lazy fire I make usually. If someone showed me this when I was little, I'd probably respect it a little more, and you know, I would understand how it works, because what I did when I was little is I basically, me and my friend were setting leaves on fire, and I said, oh, I know a bigger pile of leaves, and that pile of leaves was connected to a forest, so luckily the fire was put out before it spread beyond, like, you know, 40 feet, but it could have become, you know, an acres maybe. Very lucky, but maybe that could have been prevented if, as a 4th grader, I had been taught to respect fire more and just how it works. I don't.
Yeah, so yeah, most city folk, they try to start a fire. Now, honestly, for kicks, I have some hand sanitizer on hand, because there just sometimes I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of like building up burning cardboard half the time. So between the ferro rod and the hand sanitizer, I get the spark going and it lights right up. So that's pretty nifty. But also, on teaching children how to harness fire and be responsible with it, guns, same way.
Not sure. Is it simple? Is it simple that you need fuel? I think it's pretty simple. Without fuel, the fire doesn't go anywhere. And, you know, you know what I tried to do to put the fire out once it started getting too big? I tried to stomp on it, and I tried to throw dirt on it. I know that dirt could help, but I just needed I needed about like a dump truck of dirt, and I was just doing handfuls, and it was kind of hard to dig the dirt. So it was like maybe a quarter of a handful. But yeah, that was a terrible, really one of the worst things in my little life that I did. Like, you know, bad things happen to me, but when you do something bad, that's truly awful. And at one point, you ever see a movie or, like, you know, any kind of entertainment where someone puts their back to a wall and slides down it while they're breaking down or like crying? I did that on a tree when I was in 4th grade, thinking that I just set everything on fire in the whole world. I just ruined the entire world. And then miraculously someone came out of nowhere with a fire extinguisher, and eventually the fire trucks came and put out the smoldering, mess. But here's the top-down fire. I just fast forward a little after I move this match in. Just one match, one fire. And I really didn't try that hard, Fire isn't that hard to make if you have dry timber. It does help to have a long match, and it kind of went in easy and it stuck exactly where it needs to be stuck. That was kind of lucky. I didn't do that purposely. So if a little kid were to be watching this, what I was always hearing when I was little is have, adult supervision, but get good adult supervision. I'm sorry to do this, but anybody using lighter fluid, that's not good adult supervision. If they're using fatwood or birch bark, now we're talking. These are some cool people. I would like to have them use my axes. Thanks for watching.
So, yeah. Yeah, birch bark. I do find that juniper, it smells really, really nice when it burns. So I do like burning that. Yeah, and teaching how guns work, best way for gun safety. 1, you teach them to respect the firearm. 2, you teach them to respect life. Those two together will far and above probably do more to help people and reduce violent crime with firearms than a lot of other things. And then, yeah, and training with your firearm that you have for self-defense, easy done. That will far and above help make it you safer for yourself and everyone else. But yeah, juniper wood, very nice wood for burning. And again, it's not like I can't build a fire. It's just sometimes I'm just feeling lazy. So the hand sanitizer and the ferro rod or lighter come out, and it's like, okay, we're doing this. We've got a bunch of it might be juniper or birch bark laying around outside because of just the amount of wood that we've got from picking it up from local forests, because you can. So what I find really funny is you can pay $10 for a little bundle of wood from Maverick or somewhere, or you can pay $75 for a singular face cord of wood. Okay? Or you can pay $75 to be able to go into the forest with a National Forest license to go and get 75 actual cords of wood over the course of the season. Tell me which one's a better deal. Gun safety education and hunter safety used to be a part of high school curriculums. I mean, if we brought that back, that would probably far and above change a lot of landscape. Local area? Nah. What really hurts me is I've watched some people try and start a fire. It's like, guys, you're trying too hard. You're not doing it right. And then they just end up failing. And it's like, okay, guys, back up. Let me in. Okay. And then fire burn really nicely. When you basically run off of a wood stove every year during the winter, you start to learn to use how to build fires kind of well-ish. So, yeah. It doesn't hurt as much to try and build a fire. MR. I think I Yeah, I came into here already. Gosh. These nuts. I got him. I mean, there are a lot of areas in forest areas that are just like open to the public anyway. So there's that. And as an added bonus for the Forest Service to allow people to come in and like cut up dead wood or wood laying on the ground, it is actually more effective at fire management because they're not having to, one, pay for it themselves, and two, the wood's actually being used for something useful, and three, the wood is being removed from the forest floor, thus preventing more forest fires, which would happen naturally if it was not removed, to basically help manage the forest, which is its own natural management. We as humans just kick in and say, hey, I can use that. Let me take that, move it over here. The forest isn't going to burn down. Yeah, the tree's still going to like lay over and die. But I can use that wood to warm me up during the winter. I mean, that's fair. There are even areas in the Forest Service, National Forest areas covered by the National Forest, where it's like free wood, they say. And what they do is they like take and cut a bunch of stuff and like pile it up in one spot. And it's like, yeah, here's a free wood, go have at it. In a lot of cases, they're like, yeah, if you're like camping out here and whatnot and you're grabbing it, like whatever. I think for the most part, just make sure it's like dead wood or laying on the ground, basically. Don't like be cutting down live trees to get your firewood. The problem you run into is when you get that like zealous ranger that's like, oh, do you have your permit to be cutting wood? It's like, yes, sir. So, yeah. Oh my, speaking of free wood, it's like those free street hazard signs that construction workers, the state puts everywhere. It's free, it's there out in the open, why not take it? I mean, see, that's true too, is like when it's there, all the results of the wildfire end up fertilizing it and end up leaving it looking much better than it did before. I remember one particular case where it was when I was in high school. There was this mountain kind of close to us, and lightning had struck it. And so it was basically on fire on that mountainside, and the fire service or who all was able to control it and get it to go out. But you had this black spot on the mountainside, a black square rectangle on the mountainside for the longest time. And then eventually it got to the point to where it all grew back, and it was like the greenest, like, spot on the whole thing. And it was absolutely beautiful because, one, it was the more nutritious part of the whole thing, too. Who's attacking me? Buddy! That's what's interesting, is a lot of nations want you to pay money to to live in the place. It's like property taxes. Wait, where did that come from? There are certain cases where I can see in like certain contexts where property taxes do make sense. Like if you're living in a city and the city provides you with water, electric, and certain utilities, you're paying for that service. See, yeah. Nature takes care of itself and we don't step in. Anyway, so you've got property taxes, and those ideally should help pay for those things, like your utilities and anything else a municipal entity would provide. You kind of start getting into iffy territory once you start talking about, say, when certain entities are taking things and not doing anything for you. I can see like the federal government in some cases. You've got the military that provides like national protection. It makes sense. You've got to find some way to have revenue to support military and training and so on. You get to the state level, they've got a little bit more leeway in some things. But the county, depending on what they do, in some cases, the county doesn't do a lot. But then sometimes the county is providing for the school system in the area, and so if everybody's some people that don't even use it put into it, there are some school districts that are taking that money and they are actually allowing like people that don't directly, like homeschoolers, to use school district resources because they're paying property taxes that contribute to the school district. So yeah, it's a whole conundrum in and of itself. Let's see. I'm just going around taking stuff. I'm take what I want. I mean, see, that's a thing. In cases, water is privatized, but that water company has a monopoly over the area. And that's a whole other discussion otherwise. But in that case, if a county is charging property taxes and saying, well, it's for water services and this, that, and the other, it's like, you don't provide water services to me at all. Why are you charging for that? What do you provide that you need money from me for it? See, and that's the thing. If you don't even use the services that are being provided, see, there's certain auspices where it's like, well, you have to pay it. It's like you have to pay for these services because we are the monopoly that provides it in this area. And that doesn't make sense. So, say, for example, for internet service, for the longest time, many wireless service providers have, for example, wanted to get Digis. But because of where Digis had an agreement with other service providers that they wouldn't creep into it and that their territory was this certain limited area. So we were limited to dog water internet service. Then Starlink came along and said, well, I'm not bound by any of those limitations. So here, have internet service. And it's been far and above better than all the other service providers we've had. Cities are kind of the same way. Like, we are the sole provider of water services to your location. Give us money. Otherwise, we are going to penalize you. And that does not make sense. If you want the services, then yes, pay for it. There are certain cases where you are voluntarily giving money in order to help other people. If your tax money is being used to provide welfare services and you're not giving it willingly, then that is far and above extortion. There are certain cases where money is being used for welfare, but that money is being donated and given willingly and by choice. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. What was it? Let me go and find that post. So when it comes to the land thing, the fact that the federal government has so much of the Western, like, United States under its grip, it's there's a part of me that it's like it's a thing because we know U.S. history, blah 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 blah, whatever. Okay, where's my reply? Okay. It's in here somewhere. Okay, so yeah, I got this post right here. Somebody who actually knows what they're talking about needs to get in. Republicans weigh sales of public lands and reconciliation. So this is the idea of federal land and selling it to, like, other people, entities, what have you. And it's like, that person is absolutely not about selling public land to, say, private entities, maybe even foreign entities, because we've had issues with public land being sold under the bar countries. But then I chime in, it's like, I'd say if it is a part of, or rather hand it over to the proper states and let them take stewardship over the land. The reactions I got to this, actually, I found quite interesting. No thanks, you think I want Cox in charge of them. Now, that's a fair assessment. You're putting, basically, the governor in charge of public land in a state. Absolutely not. Utah would ruin that immediately. It depends on how the state-owned land is regulated, I believe. No, absolutely not. Which I find interesting is the fact that they are, the three that respond are absolutely against this idea of letting the states control the public land versus letting the federal government keep it. They'd rather let the federal government hold on to the land, it seems, than allow the state to ruin it. But the state is also more local and knows more of what the needs are versus the federal government. See, and on the most willingly submit to fear, you can see this in federal agencies. They'll gripe and moan about how bad the agency is, like the IRS employees griping about it, but then they sit there and do nothing about it. And it kind of, like, rubs me the wrong way. It's like you're complaining about all these problems, but you don't have any solutions and aren't even trying to find a way to change it. What are you doing here? Let's see.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they basically took control of it. Again, I halfway chalk it up to the idea of religious persecution. Let's see. Federally owned Land, United States. Images. So look at where the vast majority of federally owned land is located at. It's in the western United States. Back where all them Mormons were. So obviously it was religious persecution because they didn't want the Mormons having all that land and managing it. Because obviously the Mormons would corrupt all the land that is owned out there. But you look at, like, the eastern United States and how empty it is. I mean, either way. We're dealing with something along the lines of government saying, hey, you can't do this here, here, and here. It's like, well, wait, what? It's a natural resource. It manages itself, but then some kooky person comes in and says, well, we're going to manage it this way. And far and above, it ends up being worse for that area than otherwise would be. Do I want to go to Caldera? Yeah, I think I do. I've got Rickling stuff to sell to Creeper.
Shopping for enchantments.
Good day.
I've, like, done nothing this whole stream, it feels like.
Keep moving.
Walk well.
May your kills be quick and many. There are many creatures beyond the cities.
Let's see. Wait, gosh dang it. Cancel. Goodbye. Let's go do some repairs. I want the full value out of my stuff. Thank you, buddy. Okay, anyway. I mean, I think that's a big part of, like, what's going on with everybody. Is they see everything, they complain about everything, and they want things outside of their control to be fixed. And there are definitely things within their control that they could fix themselves, but they want someone else to do it for them. And so they have ceded their own agency and ability to change things and make their life better to someone else.
Go ahead.
And I mean, there's a little bit of pain associated with it, and depending on the direction you're taking, sometimes it feels like you're setting yourself back to make your life better. But at the end of the day, even at the end of many years, it will be worth it. All the pain. Yeah. I mean, see, that's the other thing, too. But again, I like the religious persecution angle. But I'm just biased. It's my favorite one to, like, be a little bit cheeky with. I should probably go talk to some of the men over in the places. I mean, even back during the Civil War, there was a problem with, like, big government. When you really look at it, people had complaints about it, and, like, big government was considered big back then when it was, like, over 100 federal employees, I think it was, too. Yeah. It was easier to grab land out west. And then you also had the idea of, well, we're going to take this land, and whoever's already living on it, we're just going to kick them off. So, say there are natives that inhabit the land. They're just a roadblock in the way. Get rid of them. And so, in our sense, somebody that had a claim on the land as their property were kicked off the land because the federal government said, no, it's ours now. Let's see. I think I want to put the pelts away. Oh, there's the Rickling shield. Cyrodiilic brandy. That's right. I do still have that. I don't think I bought that, did I? I might have. Black Rose. Dwemer. Or Probe. I gotta find that other thing that, yeah. Petulant man-children. I mean, I joke about being a man-child because it's like, oh, video games, blah, 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 blah. But still, at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. Being an adult, I think, in a lot of ways, is knowing the right situations where you can act immature and be funny, and then the situations where you really have to take things seriously. And there are some people that don't quite understand that concept, which is sad. Which kind of, yeah, maturity, you know. Gonna put Black Rose there. Unrighteous Dominion, yes. See, that's the thing, is a lot of people have gotten this Unrighteous Dominion type or Overlord idea in their heads because they were voted there. It's like, well, I got voted here, so I'm in charge. It's like, no. You got voted in by your constituency, and you're beholden to those people to uphold, like, their choices. And when you're not doing that, you are ripe for being removed and replaced, which is the way it's supposed to be. So these elected officials get elected, put in, and then they go completely off the rails from what their constituency actually thought they were going to do and wanted them to do. Okay, I've lightened my load there. We all have mistakes with prepositions. It's fine. Offer on, you know, it's just kind of a different meaning. They got kicked off of one piece of land and kicked on to another. We call them reservations.
You must be joking.
Nope, not joking.
Yes, Outlander?
I want to travel. I mean, yeah, that's the problem. That's why we have stereotypes about politicians being, like, liars, is because now about half the time they don't even do what they say they were going to do. What time is it? 10 p.m.? Let's wait this long. Journal has been updated. No! I mean, not voting for anyone, that's a whole other, like, can of worms. Oh, that's the spell making spell. Do you have any other... Do you have mysticism mixed in here? Nope.
Training for the right price.
Absorb agility, personality. Detect key. Siltha's mirror. Give me that telekinesis. I mean, Magic Talkie Box, I think in some cases has inevitably loosened its grip. Yeah, I mean, so the argument is that, you know, you never opted in to, like, participate in the governmental structure, and so why should I participate? And then you also run into the, force factor of, like, well, if you're going to be here, it's kind of like the being automatically opted in and being forced to opt out. So you have to opt in the first place in order to opt out. But, if you never opted in the first place of your own free will and choice, then you basically are left with, like, well, I don't want to participate at all. So it's kind of that factor is what is going on in YouTube chat. So, yeah, not voting is more dangerous than voting. But, yeah, there's that factor that you're running into. It's kind of the idea of birthright citizenship. Being born in the United States under the auspices of having both parents being citizens and being born in a U.S. territory, you are made a U.S. citizen by birth. You are basically automatically signed into the contract of, hey, here are your rights, but you also have these responsibilities. Give me your meat. I mean, it's a different flavor of worm can, but still another can of worms. Dear Lord, bless me with the ability to understand what's going on. Hello, friend. Can you please help me? My husband and I were traveling through here and we were attacked by a wild Nixhounds. They were at least 3 of them. They seemed to come out of nowhere. My husband, Daryl Endurin, tried to fight them off, but they were too much for him, and he was forced to flee. I tried to play dead in hopes the hounds would find no sport in me. I just hope I can find a Draril before the hounds come back. Yeah, see. Yeah, it was one of them that had to be, but yeah, you get the idea of the birthright citizenship deal. So, you have a parent that's a citizen. You're born, like, within and what all. You get that straight up, but yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, the Constitution of the United States tried its efforts, as imperfect as they were, took the best ideas throughout history to create a society and government that would be able to uphold a system that would allow for freedom and for a fair playing field. What the issue you run into is a people has to be aware of what's going on and not fall asleep in order to be able to keep and support that system and keep it going. And so when 100 or so years down the road, you get people that allow corrupt officials to enter into the scene, all of a sudden these different laws get passed and it becomes corrupted and it becomes that which it wasn't before. Now, on to the other parallel thing is you do have many of these like parallel systems popping up. In opposition to the public schooling system, you've got homeschool co-ops, where parents basically either volunteer their time or parents contribute to paying other parents for their time to teach things that they are passionate about or trained in. You've also got, like, if you want to go with, like, the healthcare system, there are health sharing options where you are contributing to a pool of cash that helps pay for people's healthcare. Rather than relying on healthcare policies, you get reimbursed from the shared pool of money that is put in to pay for your expenses, but you're also paying it monthly and paying back into it. See, that there's so you're saying that children being born into a community, is it the issue of children being born period, that the consensual part of it that you have the issue with, or children being born into a certain community that you have the issue with? Oh, look at that. South crop plant. What am I doing? Where am I going? You know what? Let's do... I've got recall selected, right? Yeah. Cool. Wow, look at this. Beautiful place.
Another day. Raven Rock, the jewel of Solstheim, whatever that's worth.
A jewel on a jewel of a rock is still a rock nonetheless.
But we have other problems.
You here on assignment, or did you just stop by? I have nothing for you, Cletus. Work continues in the colony, but we have no need for your help at the moment. Interesting. Geezer Hood. Nice. Yeah, I know. Geezer Hood in the Morrowind. I'm still, like, parsing out this quote from Lysander Spooner. It is interesting. So, for the rest of people and everything. Let me go back and see. Boop, boop, boop. So, but whether the Constitution really be one thing or another, this much is certain, that it has either authorized such a government as we have had or has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist. Sound clipping issues on some games in Linux, I'm not quite sure. It might be... So it might be Pipewire and transferring to OBS, but it could be other reasons too, whether it be Pulse Audio, Pipewire. You've got a whole host of options it could be. Or just improper hooking. So what would your solution to children not consenting to being born or born into a community, certain community be? Let's see, was this the shrine? Where was it? There we go. Thank you for not getting in the way too much. Actually, you can make yourself useful, clerk. It's a menial task, but it needs to be done. I have spent a great deal of money ensuring that supplies are delivered from the mainland, and I'd like you to go make sure everything is in order. The supply ship arrived this morning according to my schedule. Get me a copy of the shipping manifest from Falco, will you? On your way, then.
Who cares about Nord crackpots? Got a lot to do.
No! Let me do this. Oh, wait. I've got... Where's the League Step stuff? Let's just make it easy. I think what he means is, like, loosely in general, like when talking about a community, like a community of people, anyone, it's kind of the idea of, like, you don't choose the community you're born into, but yeah. I'm just trying to, like, figure out, like, where, because there's, I can assume certain ideas and, like, what's going on, but... Oh, yeah. Being able to understand. So with the way that the Constitution is laid out and like this, so with the way the Constitution was laid out, I know initially, and like the strata of like how everything was, more of the control was down at the local level. And so children, when they came of age, it still had the option to leave the community and move somewhere else where they felt like they fit better. But, well, I don't know if it's necessarily "but" is the right word to attach it, the clauses. You do have the issue of, like, sometimes you've got someone that's, like, such an outlier that, yeah, it doesn't make sense that they should be there. In some cases, children don't always have the wisdom, though, to understand, like, for example, going back to the earlier discussion about, like, teaching children about heat and the dangers of heat. Why in this community are we teaching people to avoid these certain things? It's because these things will lead to other pain down the road. And so if you have children being able to willy-nilly change things, I mean, suggesting things, yes, of course. You are talking about the consent of the governed in that. And so when at the more local level you have more control, they're able to actually affect them much more easily. Shipping manifest. Okay. Yeah, you break it down, the common unity and the dis-ease. And that's the thing, it's a lot easier to have that common unity in smaller units, whereas once you start to divest your power to a central body that controls everything over a larger group, it becomes much harder to have that common unity. Well, so earlier you say, like, a solution for them born into the community is to suggest changes, be involved, and or they can leave once they are of age, and leave once they are of age. Basically, what my translation of leaving the community is you're leaving one community to move to another that fits better with your ideals. Is in essence what it is. So yeah, you're leaving the one community you were born into and going to another that you feel fits you better. See, the thing with the Constitution is it was a document that told the federal government in most parts what it could not do. And so it put limits on that governing body and gave it a framework so that the federal government could be a framework so that the smaller units of society could work and experiment with different ideas and principles. So you had multiple nation states that were bound together by this one common document as an alliance in essence. So each state could have their differences, but maintain their autonomy, but also have somewhere that they could rely to help as a bolder force when push comes to shove from other nations.
Another day, another 100 vials of ore.
The fact that the federal government has, like, leached into other areas kind of, like, adds a lot more to it. I mean, and that's the thing. I'm not saying that children don't have inspiring ideas. There are just certain things where it's like if we're, like, changing everything based on the suggestion of a child, many things tend to be foolish in nature, per se. But then again, like, you do have great wisdom from the mouth of babes, in essence. Well, I was talking to you about the shippy ship. Seen anything? Well, I did see something. Now that you mention it, night before last, saw a light off to the northwest, though maybe it was a reaver boat. I was about to go check it out, but maybe it was our supply ship.
Another day, another 100 vials of war.
Northwest. See, and that's the thing. There have been a lot of communities in the past that have been people of a certain consenting group coming together and just building something. It's what we see with, like, the founding of the West. Particularly, like, when you look at the Utah area, you see the Mormon pioneers leaving to build a community because in a lot of places they were actually kicked out, but they were able to build on their ideals and many constitutional principles inside of that to create a unity that a community that thrived. God created coffee, and then for programmers. And then, oh wow, that was, wow, lady. You should wear your clothes more, but anyway. See, yeah, I'm not discounting that. You've also got, you can look at new ideas, and yeah, sometimes those ideas, as foolish as they are the ones that really do work. It's so crazy it just might work. The smaller community model makes it so that you're able to test those ideas within a limited scope, rather than doing everyone to this new idea like a national program that you haven't even tried out before, and then not seeing the results of it, and then failing completely. So, like, for example, within my context, within my church, what ends up happening, whenever there's a new program implemented, usually what happens is they go through years of limited testing with pilot programs to see, hey, does this actually benefit and assist? They gather data, and then once they have that all figured out, it's like, okay, we're going to do this thing across the board, or in as many places as it's appropriate with the culture of the area, so that we can better benefit the saints around the world. And so you don't end up blanket laying out everything across the board and dooming everybody without first seeing what the results are and the fruits of it. Oh no, Draugr! Draugr! Sweet. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like their aggro range is much further than it should be. But I could be wrong. See, I don't know if I've been really bad at explaining it, but the way the founders tried to set up the Constitution is such that each community, state, and all could be that petri dish to figure things out. And so you gave everybody that autonomy. It's just over time, as more things have been added to it, it's added more cruft that has, in essence, one, changed people's mindsets away from that structure, and two, basically built up a megalith of, this is our authority now, here's who we have to, like, talk to, or here's who we have to bow down to. I'll take your gold, thank you. You killed them? They're all gone? Don't leave me here. You've got to let me go with you. Oh, you just can't leave me? No one would be that heartless. I'd freeze to death out here. I don't know what I was thinking. Hitching a ride on a supply ship in the first place. Who appoints a wood elf a captain of a ship? You should have known better. And then that horrible crash, and now they're all dead. And the supplies are ruined, and I just want to get warm. Oh, please take me with you. Come, follow me. Yeah, I mean, God creating Linus. Well, see, you've got God created Linus, Coffee, and then Linus. But earlier on, God created John Moses Browning, and John Moses Browning brought us the M2 and saw that it was good, and God's like, I knew this was the perfect deal. Oh, yeah. I haven't quite read through the Federalist Papers or even the Anti-Federalist Papers, but the debates are quite healthy to read on, like, the decisions and then the thought processes behind everything. And I think in a lot of cases with modern society, we discount those arguments and think we know better. And it's like, have you even read the arguments of back then and what they were thinking? I mean, yeah, they left slavery in everything. At the same time, they were trying to get everybody to unite because as a young fledgling nation, you've got to have some sort of unity against the larger nations that would come to take you over. So it's kind of a toughie, and it's like, well, they should have done away with slavery a long time ago. It's like, have you considered that, oh, maybe they would have liked to? I just can't thank you enough. Shipwrecked. Wrecked? Are you sure? Well then, there's little more that can be done. At least a single survivor made it. I told Carnius that it was a bad idea to take the lowest bidder, and that this was too important to not take seriously. Well, at least you've solved that mystery. Thank you for looking into it. You just need to make sure word gets to Carnius. If only we had those pickaxes. Yes, there were several minor picks that were supposed to be sent over. We can manage without the other things, but we really need those to make any decent progress in the mine. Did you happen to check the wreckage? There's always a chance that a few of the supplies survived the wreck. Well, if you come across any, I'd be willing to pay you to deliver them here. Keep it in mind, will you?
Too bad about the ship.
Well, I mean, I get that bit. I mean, we still haven't escaped slavery. It's just more of it, in some cases, have gone underground, or it's taken on other disguises, which is a sad, sad case. We went from one serfdom to another. See, and that's the thing. It's the economic engineering in slavery that really gets a lot of people now because of how easy it is to get trapped into it. Well, I mean, contracts or labor contracts, yeah, those can contribute when... it depends on if the contracts are mutually a win-win, like mutually agreed upon the terms. It more particularly happens with, like, debt and, inflation and taxes. Because you're basically enslaved in order to provide money and finances to the other entity. In some ways, like, you willingly walked into it, but then you end up, like, regretting it later on because of the burden that you've put upon yourself. And in many cases, you continue to put upon yourself. Like, whoever came up with the idea of making the credit score the end-all be-all of financial success in society is a flippin' genius. Because it's like, I don't know if there's anything more other than the ease of just swiping a card that has made it easier for people to enslave themselves to a debtor than that on its own. I'll take all that. I'll take all that. I'll take all that. I'll take none of that. I can't hardly see nothing. Light, you're shining too bright. Now I can see. I mean, that's the thing, is you are practically forced to take it. There are avenues around it, but those are tougher to find, and they're definitely not heavily promoted like your credit cards are and things like that. There are some options that I've been exposed to. One of them in particular right now, I'm still kind of like parsing apart, because it's like, hey, there are other concerns with it. It's like, yeah, it takes away all the auspice of like these other things. But on the other hand, what does it end up contributing to otherwise? Especially with the way technology is nowadays. Like, you can get people to avoid using credit cards now. And like get them completely off of credit cards and debt free, but then you end up contributing to the analytics thing. And I think it's turning into the case where big data is becoming even bigger money than credit card interest, because you can take that transaction data, and that data is actual like hard numbers that tells you like what are people buying, like in these certain demographics, what are people getting? How can we like tailor it, or what can we do to shape them to buy our product, or what product can we make to make them buy even more? How can we lace this? It's ridiculous, and especially with the ability to process all that data with AI, people discount. It's like, well, in order to trace like the card transactions, like if you're the FBI, it's feasible. It's like, dude, I can run AI on my laptop and have it process the data. Or I can plug it into Grok, which you pay like maybe $8 a month for, and have it process the data. It doesn't take a government agency really anymore, because of the big data processing ability we have that is becoming easier and easier to get a hold of. But then again, I'm weird compared to some of the people in this particular like group and community, so they're not seeing that aspect of it. So on the buying a car thing, yeah, when you go to like your store, if you've saved up the money, you do really have the option to buy the car outright. It's just they're not used to it, so they're always going to push it upon you to go into debt to get it. Your other option is you just buy used. They're not going to look for a credit score to get a used car. And I think a lot of people would love to have you pay in cash, because nothing beats having the cold hard cash right there in hand, ready to go, rather than waiting on you to go get a loan and then pick it up, and then like the bank debating on whether it's going to be reliable that you pay it off or not. And even then, better than cash, precious metals. But anyway,
About the ship. Not your fault, though.
I've got pickaxes. 5 of them, eh? Very well, I'll take all of them. I trust that 500 gold apiece is acceptable. It is much more than they're worth. Thank you. I'll pay you for one more if you can find it. See, and that's the thing. So, time for another distraction. We're going on an epic journey again. Let me open this up. Okay. So, if I go into... Let's... Here. I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of places are going to the point where they don't want cash at all. It's like, but I want to pay for it outright. Don't... What the heck? You changed it up on me. Okay. So. That does not help me. Shop. Okay. So they changed it up just barely today. But they've been doing like this whole wallet thing. You buy gift cards and you get perks back. You get immediate payback basically in your e-wallet. You're using an e-wallet. They're bypassing the whole credit card processing system. That's part of what pays for the cash back perks and them agreeing to like whatever. Okay. So you've got like Amazon, AutoZone, Best Buy, a whole bunch of like retailers. So I've been trying to pick this apart, like, and experimenting with it. Wait. 10,000 words? I don't know. What do you mean by limit myself to 10,000 words? Or are you talking to someone else? Unless you meant $10,000, but anyway. What am I?
Raven, the jewel of
Meh, I'll go back to the fort. Assignment. Already told me about the ship, just make sure the news gets to Carnias. But if you find any pickaxes, let me know.
There's not one thing, it's enough.
I'll get one more. I can find one more. I can buy one. Okay. That, here we go, was like just another escapade into like whole subject, okay? We've had a lot of distractions. It's like been tangent back to Morrowind, tangent back to Morrowind, tangent back to Morrowind. So, yeah. Basically, yeah, you get perks back. It shows up in your e-wallet immediately. And they've got a whole bunch of stores on here. It's been the issue of, like, you buy digital gift cards, and then that gift card has a number attached to it, and it's used for this. I'm not sure. The stores may get an idea of, like, who the vendor is that sells it. So, like, this goes straight to a Sam's Club or whatever store. And they're able to be like, okay, you're buying these gift cards through this place. Now, the people that buy through this place tend to buy what kind of items? And that's the whole deal. My gripe is it feels like that the gift cards are the gatekeeping to the rest of the stuff that are actually good, like personal development stuff and so on. But you have to go through this gift card section in order to get access to that. So you get the gift card, you go buy stuff with the gift card, you got cash back already for buying the gift card. So you can use the gift card on the spot for Amazon, put in the price that you need and what have you. It's just like, you look at the data, like, they're using gift cards to buy these. Where did they get the gift card from? Because we know the number is trackable, just like the number on legal tender is tracked at certain various stops. Okay? There's no question about it. You see it being tossed around. There's the number attached to the gift card you purchased with the gift card. What do you tend to buy with it? The number gift card came from this place here. What have you, if they have that on record. So now they can analyze the data of who that is, and just like Stanley, when they multiplied their revenue by over 10 times in a single year using analytical data like that of shoppers and then defining their target audience, you're basically contributing back to a system that in some ways is actually more nefarious than the economic system. Because you're contributing analytical data that people can use to manipulate your particular group of people or society at large. And it's kind of the issue that you see with big tech companies, is the fact that like Apple and Google, they're like, well, we've made our mobile operating systems more private. And so it blocks out more of the stuff that your apps are looking for. But their motivation for doing that is ultimately, wanting to sell your data.
Speak freely, friend.
Gosh dang it, get down here. Is wanting to basically sell your data and exclusively have that data for their own use, rather than let other companies extract it on their platforms. So you go from one thing to a whole other thing, and you either make things worse or they basically stay the same because of the way that things are changing. What? It's gone? This is unacceptable. After the money I spent on this venture? Fine, fine. Another ship will have to be sent for. Well, don't just stand there. The longer I look at you, the longer I have to think about it. Just take this and go away. Come back in a few days.
I can't believe it. Can't anyone do anything right?
No, you ordered the cheapest ship. But yeah, even more untraceable than cash is, like, precious metal. Can you imagine buying your, like, Smith & Wesson cartridges and just trading in bullets, like, or what all, like in Metro? You buy your currency at the grocery store, because there are local grocery stores near me that have, like, ammo on their shelves. Which is really funny, because I can go get my snacks and then go and, buy ammo at the same place, which is hilarious to me.
May I help?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is you created a whole other level of social engineering. So now it's not just, like, debt social engineering. It becomes, almost like literally psychological, because you are using the tricks of advertising with the data that you have that you've purchased from said other groups that you don't have control over.
Another day.
Let's see. There's my recall right there. Right in the middle. I didn't find another axe. I mean, that's the thing. There are certain core crypto that have basically laid the foundation, and then a lot of other, like, meme coins that are basically pump and dump scams to get you wanting to do it. The only reason I think Bitcoin even stands the way it does is due to the fact that it was, like, the earliest on the market, just about, and became basically the de facto in early crypto. Others came along, like Litecoin and Ethereum, and they Ethereum kind of stands on its own. Litecoin, I think, somewhat stands on its own, but for the most part, they're minor coins. Once you get to the Hawk2 whatever coin and all that, it's like those are just pump and dump schemes based on influencers. So, yeah. It's sad, but it is what it is. And yeah, Monero stands on its own. There are a couple others that... Yeah, and when it comes to people that are less technically inclined, they don't see those aspects of it, so they're like going with like the big one. But then you also got like the fiat layers on top of like that crypto, so like Bitcoin has Bitcoin Cash on top of it and some blockchain stuff or what have you. A lot of weird different stuff. It just, yeah.
Too bad about the ship.
Gosh. What progress have I made? None. None at all. Let me... Can I get pickaxes in Balmora? That's the question. Question of the century, my friends. Question of the century. You stop getting in my way, buddy. I wouldn't be here. What am I thinking?
What is this about?
Not there. Here's a possibility. Nope. Rajir. Blah, 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 blah. Ravir. Let's see, Satanine.
Where would you like to go?
I would like to go and see Arvil about having a pickaxe. Yes. It would be very nice to know. Then, if nothing else, I will go to that one mining town. Are you kidding me? Wait, I might have one in... Did I stash one away in a chest down there? I might have. It's total possibility. It wouldn't be past me to do that. Nope. I mean, it's possible. The hard part is with crypto like that, you do run, with it being software based, you do run into the issue of people being able to do updates to it. It's kind of like a video game, an old game. When you get one company that says we're going to keep it to the original and like not alter anything at all, they keep to that, they keep the vision, things like that. Then when someone else takes over, they kind of make executive decisions sometimes. And it's, yeah, it sucks. That's interesting. I mean, I think it'd be hilarious to have an Oblivion remake, but it being in OpenMW. So you could, yeah, be pretty funny to see.
Why walk when you can ride?
I know, right? Then you could have like a whole modern engine of Oblivion, but also be able to have it somewhat easier to mod. Yeah. Pelagiad. Oh yeah, it is that way, huh? See, what... The problem that you've run into with many crypto is the fact that because it's software, in a lot of ways it can be shut down, like, quite easily. Whether it be by the person that made the coin or some other entity. Now, some would be more resistant to it than others because of the way they run their infrastructure for the coin, but you still have the chance that it can happen when you don't have that many nodes. When it comes to something like Bitcoin or whatever that one that was connected to DLive a long time ago, on that case, if they have a digital kill switch built in, then it doesn't matter how many nodes you have. It just becomes... it's done whenever they decide it is. No, my athletics is going up. My speed, my strength, endurance. Endurance might be a good one to level up, not gonna lie. Actually, wait. I have an idea. There's this one rascal miney place that I forgot about exists. Bethesda might be using Unreal because people complained about how buggy their engine was. And they finally gave up and said, you know what, we're going to relent and use something else that people say is more reliable. So yeah, decentralized internet also means, like, we're able to host our own things, and it should hopefully make it easier for other people to gain the skills to manage their own services, because that means people have more control over their stuff and their data. Whereas with the likes of Amazon Web Services and so on, we don't quite have that. We kind of rely on big service over here to manage everything in hopes that it doesn't come down. Now, in some cases, I can see that being worthwhile, because it's like, well, do I want to manage the hardware? Sometimes, not always. So, like, I'm going to pay, like, small Frantech company over here to take care of the hardware end of things, but I'll take care of the software end of things and manage the OS and things like that. You've also got the option where if you've got the budget for it, you can buy the hardware and set it up. And if your ISP supports it, you can set up all your services at home. It's kind of like a spectrum, but like putting it all into Amazon's hands and that, like, why? Did I sell the pickaxes that I got off of them? I might have. Otherwise, Creeper's the one with the pickaxes. Look, a rat spawned. Darn it, I already scoured this one. Got rid of it all. I'm gonna have to find another victim. I mean, not saying you can't defer some of that skill to other people, but if you can defer some of that skill to more local people for a decentralized internet, then that would be preferred. See, I don't know what it is, but like, there are quite a few people that are freedom-loving people that want to do things, but then they end up contributing to the centralized digital system and, in essence, enslaving themselves to that in spite of enjoying freedom. And so you run into the issue of now you've just more centralized digital stuff, given them more analytics, and so they've got even more control rather than unleashing your own freedom. So they don't quite have that technical mind.
I have no time for you.
Ah. Okay. So, I don't know where I cut off at. Where did I cut off at? It's always my favorite part about streaming, the mic dying on me. You know what? I'm not going to readjust my mic volume. I'm just going to let the fuzz sit there in the background and bother me on the everything. Every word of the stream so far. Okay, your country sucks. Don't like freedom. Oh, that doesn't tell me a lot, but anyway. So, I think I'm going to run off of this one. Oh, well, Epic Games, yeah. Support are pretty big idiots. Well, support, I can believe it. Epic can't build a... storefront worth, dog water. Although a lot of people praise them for suing against Apple and winning for the app exclusivity walled garden deal. But yeah, still can't build a good gaming storefront worth a darn. Oh, but then on the subject of building your own infrastructure, there was one guy that I knew from high school. He basically, later on down the road, he was doing some work, and he needed more bandwidth. And his ISP told him, like, hey, no, we can't give you that much. Like, you've hit the limit. And he's like, well, that's not going to work. So he started his own ISP so that he could have the bandwidth he wanted and needed. And now it's basically a regional ISP. Why you bite me? Gosh dang it. Anyway, it's become sort of at least a regional ISP. And it also does wireless. It does wireless service, broadband services. It's actually pretty funny because you go from, well, I've got this problem, and the company I'm paying that was supposed to give me the service isn't like doing anything about it, so I'm gonna do it myself. Controller issues do not stem from the game. Well, I guess my question would be, is it hardware controller issues or software controller issues? Because there's a difference, and calling in Epic support about that just won't help with anything. And there are a lot of layers in between that it's like, you know what? Screw you, I don't need this. I'm gonna go do something else. See, that's a thing. And earlier in the stream, we touched on that ISP turf issue thing going on. And it becomes a case of your service's dog water purely due to the fact that, it's basically like one of a few choices and they don't care enough. So they basically push out or come to agreements with other companies that like they're not going to run into their turf. And so you're limited by your choices purely by company agreements. No, this is someone located in Utah. Different person. I mean, second of all, why are you playing Fortnite? Don't play Fortnite? Lesson learned? Play something better like Quake? Beautiful thing about old games, auto walking. I'm just trying to find a pickaxe. Thank you, weird Discord bot. Look, another reason. So I think you probably got you're gonna step up by moving to Utah, and then you're gonna get another step up by moving to Idaho because their concealed carry laws in Idaho are a lot nicer than in Utah. Then on top of that, just for kicks, in Idaho they have the alcohol out in the open rather than back in some secluded fridge. But anyway. That's just a funny haha thing. Arkanthand, Hull of Centrifuge. I mean, your other option is you get Starlink, honestly. Like I said earlier, Starlink, far and above with the other wireless providers, or internet service providers, has been far better than the others. And the dude from the last one we had was like, I'm going to leave this bracket here for mounting the satellite just because when you come back, it's already here. We haven't gone back in a few years, okay? And yeah. He thought we were going to come back, and no, Starlink has been reliable enough where it's like the only time like it's gone down is because of solar wind pretty much, or the power going out. And even then we can supplement the power going out with like a UPS. So yeah. And even then, as I drive around, I've seen more houses with Starlink satellites on it and businesses on top of that as well. So Starlink has made a difference in the way people get their internet. And I mean, I know HughesNet was like, oh, we do space satellites, but like it was dog water. This was the right way I should have gone. I should have gone south, not north. So there's this like boomer meme that I really like. And it's like, yeah, I believe in LGBT, liberty, guns, beer, and titties. And it's like, you know what? That's not bad. Can I get up anything at all? I am taking that. Thank you very much. Okay, League Step. Oh, wait. Let's try Recall first. Regular Recall. Nope, League Step it is. Pickaxes. Whether you know it or not, Cletus, you have arrived at a crossroads. If he hasn't already, I'm sure Carnius will approach you before long. He will attempt to draw you into his plans for this colony, though I do not know what they are. I know they will be carried out at the expense of the hardworking people of this colony, rather than see you fall prey to this greed. I hope that you would give consideration to aiding me in making Raven Rock a better place for us all. I can reveal to you now that the true reason I took this position was to counter whatever schemes Carnius may have. I want to see this colony succeed, Cletus. I believe you can help me to see that it does. Shall give you some time to think it over. Let me know when you're ready to make a choice.
Too bad about the ship. Not your fault, though.
Wait, see? See what? A dark room. Dark room. Dark room does a lot to help see. Aiding. Have you decided? Yes, I will help you. Excellent. I'm glad to have you working with me. From now on, every future assignment you're given will come from me. Don't have any assignments. I have other things to deal with.
turn to talk. Hours
Basks in the sun. This was the plan all along. Ditching Carnius at the first opportunity. Nope. You stop right there, buddy. I'm going first. Choose to ally yourself with Falco and then come to me expecting for work. I didn't realize that you were that stupid.
you chose Falco. Fine. Yes.
I was just double checking how angry you were. You don't have to be so
Speak freely.
butthurt. My goodness. Go get yourself a woman.
What's your story?
Morale, yes, I know it has. Soldiers lead a difficult existence on this island. It's cold, wet, dangerous, and far from home. The men here are denied all luxuries. This place is just damned awful.
Yes.
How horrible. Hey, buddy. Is that booze I smell on you? Smells like Sujamma to me. I know the smell anywhere. How about giving a thirsty soldier a little pick-me-up? Take me away, sweet Sujamma. Thanks, friend. Just hasn't been the same around here since this became a dry fort. It's ridiculous, I tell you. That's right. No liquors at all is allowed at Fort Frostmoth these days. Captain's orders, I guess. Seemed odd coming from him. Captain Carius seemed like a fair enough guy as long as we carried out our duties. Guess he figured we weren't up to his standards, so he cut us off. Since then, everyone's been in a pretty foul mood. I will go talk to Carnius about this dry fort issue. We shall wet the whistles of everyone.
Speak freely, friend.
And we shall spread the elixir of diplomacy to all that wish to have it.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. I imagine that the lack of alcohol might have some effects on morale, but I didn't ever actually ban it. Personally, I didn't even care about the alcohol. It was the priest, Antonius Nuncius, who was worried about the effect it was having on the men. I disagreed, but the question became moot. Our shipments stopped coming in months ago. Speak with the soldiers a bit more and see if you can find out who the source of this discontent is.
I asked you to investigate why the morale has been low in the
I've learned a lot. Your priest is a spook. Move on. Move along. Be that way.
You want something, friend?
Dry fort? Yeah, I saw the captain would ban liquor for his troops. There's no understanding some people. He told you that, did he? I guess he never officially did. Still, the shipment stopped arriving. What's to be done about that? Well, I have no idea why. I am but a simple priest forced to serve these pathetic soldiers on this terrible frozen excuse of an island. It is not my concern why the alcohol hasn't arrived. You have no proof I've done anything wrong. Stop asking me these questions.
Yes? What can this humble priest do? I'd be happy.
I've done nothing wrong here. Go away. Stop asking. Okay, I'm going to unlock. It's fine.
Greetings to you. A pleasure to meet you. Yes.
Hey, where does that priest sleep? What is it you want? I heard you might be able to get a hold of some booze. I heard you might have some sujam on you. I could sure use a bit. Look, I'm not sure what caused all this. I just know that I heard from Antonius Nuncius that the captain had placed a ban on all alcohol at the fort, and sure enough, there was none to be found.
Greetings to you.
The armory? Really?
Yes?
Guess I'll just have to go visit the armory then, huh? My pockets have been getting awfully light.
I'm listening.
That may be. It's possible. Everybody likes to use AI now.
You want something, friend?
What is the meaning of this? You're in my way. I gotta go up to... Come on. Get out of the way. Move. Darn it.
I'm listening.
Oh my goodness. This is killing me. I think what I'm going to do for now, though, is call... Bro, console? What the heck? I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks for stopping by, guys. It was an interesting conversation, to say the least. Remember, Discord and stuff, they're in the description. So, like, if any other topics come up, or what all, or even, like, goofy interest and dumb things that crazy things I've shown off, then let me know there or what all, and I will see you guys later.